So today I would like to go through the if-else statements in C++. Okay, this is quite exciting because for me this is the first time or the first stage that we will be using the programming language to help us in decision making. Okay, so why don't we go to the notes that's available online. You can always go to w3schools.com. They have all sorts of tutorials for all topics, and today I would like to pick up on the C++ conditions and if statements. Okay, sometimes textbooks call it conditions, and for me I just call it if-else statements because it's much more easier. Okay, the idea of these statements is that we can pose a certain condition and let the computer decide if it's true or not. Okay, and for that we need to use certain symbols, and these are called logical conditions. There are 6 of them. All of them are quite commonsensical to me. So let's have a look. You can test if something is lesser than something else. A is less than B, you can use the less than symbol. If it's less than or equal to, you can use the less than with an equal sign. Greater than or bigger than, you can use this sign as usual. And again, if you want to test whether it's greater or equal to, you can combine both of these symbols. Now for equal, you have to make it twice, because if it's just one symbol of equal to, in C++ it means an assignment of value. Okay, and that's why not equal to, you'll have to use the exclamation mark combined with an equal sign. Okay, so in this one it means A is not equal to B. As this one, A equals B. If A equals B, then you do something. Okay, that's the whole idea of if and else statement. Basically, you're posing the condition to computer and to allow it to decide whether to proceed with the next statement or not. Okay, you can continue reading this, but what I would like to focus is on the examples, because that's where you will learn more about this. Just quickly, the syntax or the way to type it is that you have to start with if, and then with the bracket, and the condition must be within the bracket, and after the condition is what you want the computer to do if this condition is true. Okay, if it's not true, you can add another block at the bottom which says else. Okay, I think that's all for now. So let's have a look at the example. Okay, right, so the example here is create a program that accepts a number and find its square if it's an even number, and find the cube if it's an odd number. Okay, understand the question? Yeah, so I hope by now, by following the last video, you are able to write a program that accepts a number and do something with it. And for now, we'd like the computer to do a decision making process and only then do the processing of the number that is being entered. Okay, so why don't we go to the for your IDE or compiler, and you should have a basic structure over here. If you're not, then as always, open up your hello world example, copy here, and once you paste it, run it just to be sure that it runs okay, then you can use it. Okay, right, great. So now we go straight to the question and create the program. So the program asks you to accept a number. Please enter a number. Okay, as usual. And then what do you do if you ask the user to enter a number? The cout statement must always be followed by a cin statement, right? So just like our last example, we are using just the letter A for the variable name of the integer to be entered. So now we have a complete program to accept the number, but we don't yet do anything with it. Okay, right, if you were me, I would advise you to continue doing the program as if without the if else first. That's one way of checking that the program runs well. Okay, let's just assume that we want to create a square number. I think you have also copied this program before. If you have, then you can just load it and run it again and see if it is still all right. Enter number 6 and the answer is 36. Right, great. With this program, all you have to do is change a bit to put in the if statement. Okay, before the cout statement, you just add in like this: if in the bracket A is even, then yeah, this is not a correct program, but what I'm saying is just to get the right structure first. Okay, this is the structure. Else you make a cube of it. Okay, cout. The reason why I'm doing this is because on how to do, or on how to check for whether it's even or not, there is a trick to it, so we'll go through it together, don't worry. Okay, the cube is, so what if you want to have a cube? So you multiply it 3 times, that's all. Okay, so this is the structure of the even of the if else statement. Okay, if the condition is true, then it will do this, and it will not do this. Remember, okay, if this is true, it will only do this and it will not do this. But if it's not true, it will not do this and will only do this. Okay, you got that? Yes, that's the function of an if statement. It will only do the first one if the condition is true, else it will straight go to the second statement and only do this. So that's the whole statement, okay, of using if else statement. Now, before I go on and test this program, obviously it will be wrong because this is not the right condition to write. Remember, I told you that the condition must use symbols like bigger than, lesser than, and whatnot. Yeah. So in this case, how do you check if number is even? How do you know if a number is even? An even number is something that's what? Divisible by 2 without any balance, right? So if that's the definition, and it's the definition that I like to use the most because it's the easiest, so you have to use this symbol. Okay, I'll make it bigger so that you can see it. This symbol, the percentage symbol. Remember that I asked you to look up the meaning of it in the first video. This is an arithmetic operator, but the function is very specific. What it does is that it gives out the balance if you divide it by this number. Okay, so what I will use it for here is to check whether it's a even number or not. Like what we have agreed just now, an even number is something that is divisible or divided, if divided by 2 will not give any balance. So this is an even number if it's divided by 2 and no balance, 0 balance, meaning that this is an even state. So this is an even number. So let's check if it is true or not, if it's correct or not. Okay, let's run it. Please enter a number. Okay, let's say you enter number 4, which is an even number. So what happens if you enter number 4? You will get a square. 16. Great. So let's run it again and enter an odd number. Enter an odd number is something that we know, number 5. Okay, if it's an odd number, it should give the cube of it, which is 125. Correct. Okay, so just like my tip before, continue testing with all other numbers and make sure you to test it with your calculator or other means and see whether it's still correct or not. Once you're happy with the result, as always, copy the program and paste it in a notepad or your favorite text editor and save it with a name that you can refer to later. Okay, if else, because this is an if else topic, even odd. Okay, there you have it. So let's go to the second example. So what I want you to write is a program that accepts the weight of the user and the height of the user, and we want to calculate that for the user's BMI. Yeah, I leave it to you to find out what BMI means and the formula for it. We will write a program that will determine their BMI and write a response for it. Okay, for example, in this one, if you are overweight, you should exercise more, or something simple like that. Okay, as you can see straight away by now, I hope you can appreciate that your program will accept some input from the user, and will do some if statement, some decision making here. Okay, so let's go back to here. Please enter your, just change the program to something that is understandable. Okay, so if you like me, you always name your variable as something that is understood, so that when you study it again, you can relate what you're writing. Because if you just use A and B, there's a problem that you will forget about what it means. Okay, and also if you like me, I always, this is also another tip for you. When you name your variable, always name it in a language other than English, and put it in all capital, so that you can be sure that the name that you're proposing is not a reserved word in C++. Okay, because in all programming language there are instructions that we call a reserved words. You cannot use these words as your variable name, because the computer will get confused. So what I will normally do is I will use a Malay word and use all capitals for the variable name. Okay, there's also another tip by other programmer, which they like to put an underscore, but I don't like to do it because sometimes I forgot to type in underscore. Okay, sometimes they do it like this. Sorry, not underscore at the beginning, but underscore at the end. Okay, because some programming languages don't allow you to put a symbol at the beginning. But I would prefer using an all capital using a different language than English, because that's much more easy to remember. Okay, height in meters. Okay, as usual, put the variable name at the top. Just follow the flow of how I write my program. Okay, because otherwise you will miss out on little things like semicolon and whatnot. If you continue studying this subject according to my examples, step by step, you will never get it wrong, because everything is there. Okay, right, so for this one I will add an additional step so that it's become clearer. This is the formula for BMI. You can read it up, look it up to find out whether it's correct or not. Right, so up to here. Okay, why don't we do it this way? Why don't we try out if this works or not? Okay, because in this part you also will be learning something new. Right, so let's do this. So your program should be able to accept values of weight and height, and then right, since you are introducing a new variable here, don't forget to put it up there. Okay, so I think I've introduced this in the first or second video. Remember that integer only deals with whole numbers, so if you're expecting the number to be not whole numbers, straight away change the data type to double. Okay, so that you are happy, and then you can run it and see what happens. Yeah, so let's try this program. Let's enter your weight. Let's say your weight is 80 kilogram, and if you're as tall as me, you're about 1.5 meters. So let's see, your BMI is 35 and da 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 da. Okay, that sounds a bit right. Okay, you can use your calculator to find out if it's right or not, and I leave it to you to check the value out. So why don't we continue with the response to your BMI? I've introduced you to the data types, but what is new today is that in the first example, remember that when we do the operation of all these values, we do it right in the cout statement. But over here today, I'm introducing another step, which actually is something that you can do as well separately. But look at the structure, it's quite different. Okay, what it means is that this line, for this variable, you are storing this value inside that variable. Okay, so you are storing the BMI value inside a variable called BMI as well. Okay, just to be sure, make sure all numbers are in double data type so that you will get the right answer straight away. So what you're doing is you're storing this in this variable, and if you want to use it in cout, all you have to do is create your structure as usual, add these connectors, and you just write your variable name there, so it will get printed along with the other cout statements. Okay, so this is another way for you to use variable inside a cout statement. Okay, right, so let's go on to the second part, which is to create the response for this. Okay, so now let's check the BMI. So if BMI, okay, for this one also, I leave it to you to find out which BMI is normal, which one is not normal. But for the purpose of this, we're going to make it easy. If BMI is bigger or equal to 30, you just say you are overweight. Okay, you just say you are overweight. This exercise. Okay, right, with the if statement, I would like to introduce something new as well, which I call nested if statements. Okay, with all programming languages, actually you can nest your statement inside one another. So what I mean is like this. So inside the else, because for BMI, if you are less than 20, for this particular example, you are underweight. Okay, between 20 and 30, you are normal. So above 30, you are overweight. So if you are testing that if BMI is more than 30, you are overweight. So what happens to the one less than that? Because lesser than 30, not everything is normal. So let's have a look and see whether you can understand what I'm trying to say. So if we add one more statement here within the else, so if BMI is bigger than 20, you are okay. Else, cout. So the intention is that if the BMI value is more than 30, then you are clearly overweight. But if you're less than that, you have to check whether it's still more than 20 or not. Because if it's more than 20, it means you are okay. But if you're less than 20, then you are underweight. So let's run it and see whether it works or not. Let's enter something that I know which will be underweight or overweight for my height. So let's put in 80 kilograms because it's obviously will be overweight for me. You are overweight, please exercise. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's run it again and see if I put in a lighter weight. Let's say I just put in 20 kilograms, which is obviously not advisable, not achievable. But let's see whether the program works or not. You are underweight. Yes, that is correct. So that means the program runs well for all values. Okay, again, as I always say, test it again with other values and see whether it still runs or not. And as usual, copy the whole program, paste it in your text editor and save it. Okay, and for this one I would like to call it if else VMI, because a number of my past questions also is about VMI, so you can study it on your own. Oh, I almost forgot, as usual with all my videos, there will be a homework at the end. So for this class I would like to give out this homework. Obviously this is not programming. You can just use a calculator to find out who will reach Kana first, but I would like you to write out a program so that the program will tell you who will reach Kana first. Okay, just use if else statement and find out who will be there first, and just put down some assumptions that you make. For example, the roads are straight, you know, they have enough fuel to get to Kanga without stopping for fuel, things like that, and the speeds are constant. Those are what I mean by assumptions. Okay, just put it down and write a program just to display the formula, the mathematical equation on how you get to the answer. Okay, that's all I ask, but it's just homework. I won't grade this. The one that I will grade is the one that I posted on Spectrum. Okay, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching and happy coding.